Hi everybody, welcome to Missy's Imaginings. I hope you guys are doing really well. It's been a couple interesting days. Have you ever had one of those days? Yesterday we got home from work and my entire floor was covered with ants. It's, you know, the hatching season. And but we didn't have any food out or anything, and so they were just, you know, like this multitude spread across the sands in search of sustenance. And so we had to spray everything, put the cats upstairs and had to spray everything. And then I didn't realize how slippery that stuff gets. So it coated the bottom of my shoes. Well, the next thing I know, I'm doing the splits. Believe me, at my age, I should not be doing the splits. So after I kind of recovered and the girls helped me up, we finished cleaning up things, and they'd gotten into one cupboard and into the toaster, so that went the way of the dodo. And so I'm taking all the garbage and stuff out, and my slippery shoes, because they were so coated with that stuff, hit a wet spot on our very, very, very steep driveway, and down I went. So I just, you know, laid there on the driveway for a while and tried to regain. Unfortunately, it was dark and nobody was out and about to see me. But so then I had to get up this morning and go to work, and oh goodness, it was one of those days. And you know, you have those days when you're just dropping everything, and you know, when you work with scissors and rotary cutters and small mini box knives and regular box knives and needles. I've learned not to try to catch things. So anyway, it's time for a long-awaited full weekend, and so I'm home, and I thought I would go ahead and do the intro because we're going to do a project today. So hopefully in the morning, when I actually start into the project for you, I won't be too sore. So real quick, just some dolly news to have fun. I have the kimono all finished. I posted some pictures on Facebook, in various groups, and on my Facebook page and Instagram. So this is the kimono for the Hua Rong style doll, and it's kind of one of those patterns that even if you don't have a Hua Rong, it'll probably fit a variety of dolls, just because she is fuller, so you'll be able to take it in rather than try to enlarge it. Most of my other SDs are actually smaller than her figure-wise, except for the tall 70 centimeter iris, which around it might be similar, but she's a lot taller. So anyway, I thought we'd take a look at this outfit. This pattern is on the website, so if you'd like to sew it, the kimono part is put together largely in the same way as the other kimono pattern. I have two on the website. This one will say Hua Rong. The other one I think just says SD female kimono. But the coat's pretty much the same no matter which pattern you want. That one has more of an angled sleeve instead of a rectangle sleeve, and then the back splits open so that your garment can show underneath, where this one is split on the sides. So we'll take a look at this. So I made her little fan, which was an experiment, but it turned out well, so I was happy with how that turned out. And she's got some jeweled headpieces here that are pinned into her hair. Well, not pinned, but slid in. So let's see if I can, there we go. So this is just a long hook spike, I guess you'd want to say, and then from it there's cording with beads and little gem flowers, and then this one is also beaded, and rather than the cord with the beads on it, it's actually strung with beads and crystals, or Swarovski crystals. How do you say that? I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to show this, and I'll go ahead and put, let's see, we'll move her over so it won't cut into her face or anything, and maybe on that side of the camera we'll put a picture of this close up. I had some fun with shrinky dinks. So if you want to make some doll things like gems or little flowers that look like resin, but you don't want to mess with resin, buy Shrinky Dinks. And the other thing you can also use probably, and I've experimented with some, but not all, obviously, is the clear plastic that you get on boxes, or now this you have to really clean and disinfect and wash really well, but white styrofoam meat trays, if you eat meat, they will shrink in the oven like a Shrinky Dink. And so if you can't buy the actual Shrinky Dinks, which I'm sure you can find them on Amazon, that's what I used to make the long hairpin spike part, and then all the little flowers that match the flowers in her outfit, because I just laid it on there and traced it. I did use Sharpie markers because that doesn't wipe off as easily as a water-based marker is just gonna, you know, smear off. So if you have Sharpie markers or some kind of a permanent marker, I think Bic has a really good package of a wide variety of colors in a permanent marker. Those would work as well. So yeah, with a permanent marker you can write on them and make the hair designs, and that's what I did for her. So the coat itself has the rectangle sleeves, and I did have a little bit of a curvature to them, so you'll find out when you put the pattern together. So that's what they're shaped like. So it's not just a straight rectangle, because I wanted a little bit more of a feminine design to it. So that's how I made her sleeves. And then to put them together, because it is sewn shut around all the edges except for this much where her hand will come out. And so I did go ahead and I put all my trimmings on before I sewed this shut, and because the white lace comes out from the edge of the fabric, what I had to do is I had to trim a little bit of the lace down towards the bottom so that I could sew this bottom seam, because you turn it all inside out. And so I did trim that lace just a little bit in order for that to work, because if you do it later then it's hard to sew it on because it's all put together. But I wanted to do it before I put it together, and then the lace would get bunched up if you don't trim that back a little bit. And then yeah, so then here's the front. So it has a white bias tape with then the little lacy part on it, and then I put some lace and ribbons, not like right on the, well, I guess it is on the shoulder, not her shoulder, which is up here, but on the where the sleeve meets the garment. So there's some pretty bows and ribbons just for fun. Then we'll spin this around, and on the sides they're split about right here so that the garment underneath can show. And then here's the back. There we go, get the sleeve out of the way. And so here's the slits on either side. They're just the side seams. I didn't sew them all the way down. And you can, if you want to sew them all the way down, you can, but I like for the garment to be able to show through those sides. We'll turn her back around, and then we'll go ahead and remove this garment. Oh, and then she has another crystal necklace because I thought she needed some sparkle. So, and the dress in the pattern is a strapless dress. There we go. I'll take that off. Okay. And so it, I just used the pattern from her basic set to do the top of the dress, and as you can see, it comes up very high and up under her armpits. That's just kind of how I wanted it, and you wouldn't have to make it that high, but if you use the pattern as is, you're going to have plenty of coverage. And then I did an underdress, or an underskirt, using the exact same measurements as the pattern. Then to do the chiffon overlay, I wanted it to be very full, and so I thought about just doubling the patterns and making it, you know, double width. But when I laid them out on my piece of fabric, I thought, why not just have it doubled and doubled on my fabric, because they're all folded pieces, and then the back you have to have two. So I laid them as if I was going to double it, but then I just cut straight across the fabric and had it all one continuous piece. So the skirt, chiffon skirt, is just one continuous rectangle, but I knew that I could have the A-line lining and then this fuller overlay because it was so full. So it does have a lot more gathering than if you simply double the pattern pieces. I hope that makes sense. And then we put some of the same matching lace here around her waist, which I discovered was elastic after I bought it. That's on her sleeves. And then I have an additional different kind of ribbon for her little bow here and then along the top. To get a better look on the top, I tried sewing it just how the first way I did it. It kept wanting to separate. I was just going to do it as, you know, just to sew it on. But the edge, because I couldn't actually sew right to the edge because of the way it was put together, because it is a lined bodice, the ribbon kept curling away from the garment. So what I did is I went ahead and sewed the ribbon on the back side of the garment with the wrong sides together. I have to think about it a minute. And then I flipped it over the top of the garment and then top stitched it so that it would actually roll over the top edge of the garment, and then it doesn't come away from the garment where they're sewn together, you know, and those top little edges would come apart, because I just didn't like how it looked. It wasn't very clean. It just looked kind of messy. So anyway, that's the dress. So we can turn her around, and her stand is kind of in the way. And then here's the back. So that's what the back looks like. And it just has a snap here and a snap here to put it together. And yeah, so, but it's largely done, as far as the overlay is done very similar to the pink long dress with the floral blossoms that I did for Resin Soul Me, as far as putting it together. And yeah, and then the kimono is pretty much the same as the other kimono. It's just a little bit differently shaped, and whoa, I'm losing hair pieces, and yeah, different fabric. So that's her outfit. So it is ready, and on the website, it's already posted there. I believe it might be, you might have to scroll through the 12 Gifts of Christmas for 2020. I'm not sure that I've actually moved it to the Ready to Print page. So if you go to the Ready to Print page and you can't find it, you will have to go to the 12 Gifts of Christmas in December of 2020 and look through those. My memory's kind of crazy for right now. But anyhow, so that's her outfit. And then I had purchased these beautiful little floral shoes for her, these little floral pumps. They're like a creamy color with lots of colored florals, and I just love them. But then I saw the ones I could not resist. Here we go. Oh, I'm hopeless. And I bought her some, let's see if I can get this down so I don't drop her, and we'll see if we can get closer. They're glass slippers. Oh, I just adore them. They're so cute. So they're actual glass, they're not glass, they're plastic or resin. And but I paid as much for them as you would glass, but I just thought she needed actual glass slippers. Oh, am I hopeless? I might be. So anyways, oh, and then her necklace is also the same crystals as the Swarovski. I can't say it. So anyway, that's the outfit that I worked on last that you can make if you want. Also, just a couple quick finds. If you want grommets or eyelets, this little find I found at Harbor Freight Tools. We have one in a town close to us. And it comes with a grommet setter and 100 grommets, and it looks like there's silver, gold, copper, and then a brown color. And this package with the setter and the grommets, I think it was $3.99. Now here's the deal. If I go to Joann Fabrics and I don't have a coupon, it's $5.99 just for the grommets. So that's $6 compared to $4, and here you get the setter with them. So I thought that is a really good deal. So anyway, just letting you know, Harbor Freight Tools, every once in a while you think, you know, it's like a tool store, but they have wonderful things for craft and making dolly supplies and all that. I actually got my air compressor and airbrush there. I still need to use it, but I got them there. So anyhow, that's Harbor Freight Tools. Oh yeah, and there I got a little mini box knife. It has tiny little blades, which is handy for crafting things. So we'll go ahead and start on our project, which is going to be, and once again we'll move her out of the way so she doesn't have a big picture in front of her face. Well, it might just take up the screen. It's a coat and hat, and we'll make an attempt at the boots. Here it is, that someone posted on Facebook, and I thought that would be a fun pattern to make. That just looks like a really cute little coat. So what we're going to do is we're going to design this and get this pattern ready, and it will fit Ellowyne Wild by Tonner's Wild Imagination. She's 16 inches tall, and it should be workable for a lot of MSD size. I think it would be too big for a minifee, because I think the minifies are more compact. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and get the camera switched out and start working on putting that pattern, well, drafting that pattern, so that you can have another pattern to try for Ellowyne or your MSD girls. So here we go. We'll switch it up and get started. To create this particular pattern, I'm using the Ellowyne Basic Set, which is posted on the website, and I'm going to use the 4-piece bodice pieces to make this pattern. Because I don't necessarily want to add darts. I want the actual panels for the front side, the back side, and the back pieces. I just think sometimes on a tailored garment that the panels actually have a really nice look. So that's what I'm going to choose. So I'm not going to use the darted front and back pieces. I'll use these panels. Well, I did use these panels. And then also, when I'm constructing, these are still part of that basic set, I'm going to compare on these pieces where the waist meets the waist of the leg pieces when I added down for my length on where I wanted the coat pieces to stop and then where the ruffle would be. And so I just laid those on top of one another where I could actually see through the paper, and used these pieces as well to judge the length of my coat and then where that ruffle would come as far as the length down the leg, because these leg pieces would give me that length. I actually made some new pieces. I just rewrapped the doll, and I wrapped her head, and on one side of her head I did wedge pieces to create one side of her head, and then I used a crown piece and a side piece for the other side. So I can use these pieces right here to make the pattern pieces for the hat that I want to do, and then these I can later use for a wig. So these additional pieces I will probably put on the website as an addition to the Ellowyne Basic Set if you would like to have them. I also rewrapped her leg so that I could make pieces to create a boot. And so I have the front piece, the outside with the back seam, and the inside with the back seam, and then the sole of her foot. So if those are something you're interested in, this sheet, I'll go ahead and scan that in and post that as well. On this particular coat, it went together pretty much as you would expect a coat to go together, and I just wanted to bring your attention to a couple things when we start drawing them, and hopefully, oh, these pencil pieces aren't going to show up. Here, we'll go ahead and just start drawing these pieces. I have them penciled, but I haven't actually started doing the marker work on them yet. So if you look at the photo, and while I'm starting here, I'll go ahead and put a picture of the coat in again. If you'll see on that collar, there appears to be some gathering on the lapel, like on the inside edge of the lapel. And so I think that's created by adding those ruffles in on the lining or the facing piece that's on the inside of the lapel. And then when you let it fold outward, it would show. So here, as I get a couple of these pieces markered, this is the front facing. Oh, and I kind of got a little crooked there. Here's the front facing piece, and on the front it will be just one piece, but the facing is actually going to be two. So here's the long piece, and now we'll go ahead and draw in the second piece. And what I've done is I split the facing into two sections so that this lapel is actually longer along this edge than it is on this edge. And so you'll have to gather this edge right here. There we go. We'll put gather to match front facing. Oh, and I put too many little squiggles here. We'll fix that. It's the groove of corrector tape. There we go. Front facing A. Oh. Front facing N. That was interesting. Front facing A. There we go. And this will be front facing B. So this edge, we'll put our little matching triangles to indicate that this piece will attach to this edge, but you'll have to gather this edge so it fits this one, because this edge will be longer. And that in turn will create that gathering that's shown in the photo. So when you fold it out, when the coat is done, those gathers will show up on that lapel. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So we'll go ahead and speed up the camera and get this pattern drawn. So here we have all our finished pieces. So you'll have this sheet, which will be the boot pieces and the hat. Then I was thinking just trim the hat with ribbon rather than create a band, because a lot of times ribbon will give that silky finish that will contrast with the fabric of the hat. So even though it's all black, it will have different textures. And then here's the pieces of the coat. So we have the center back, we have the side back, we have the side front, then we have the front, then we have the front facing, the back facing, the belt ties. This is an optional piece if you would like a facing for the sleeve hem, or you can just hem the sleeves. So that's kind of up to you, however you want to put that together. Then we have the sleeve, the collar, and the ruffle. So there's all the pieces for the ruffled hem coat set. And then also, as I mentioned, I will put this piece on as an addition to, I'll turn it this way so the words aren't upside down, to the Ellowyne basic set, which includes both styles of head wrap pieces as well as the boot and sole of the foot there, in case you are interested in those. So there's our collection of pattern pieces that will be ready on the website for you, and kind of how I draw out the pieces using the basic set and just kind of tracing around them and creating the length that I want and the shape that I want. So have a wonderful day and happy sewing. Bye!